Hi, I'm Noah Kozlov inside Roosevelt University for the NFL Draft here with Jim Lickey, the national sports columnist for the Associated Press. And usually at the draft, the quarterbacks, or at least whoever goes 1 and 2, are the big stories, but not tonight with Laremy Tunsil, the offensive tackle from Ole Miss. What a bizarre story, starting with the gas mask bong hits and then the Instagram account with the text messages accepting money from coaches, and then that press conference.
Yeah, and the worst part of it is I don't think we have any closure. I mean, we know he's drafted. We know where he's going to be playing. We don't know what's going to happen now back at Mississippi. There's going to be an investigation that's going to probably run 2 years. Coach Freeze is going to have a lot to answer for. And troublingly, you know, the way that the news conference progressed was really confusing because at one point he was asked a question. I don't think half the room could hear what the question was, other than it had something to do with maybe receiving payments of some kind. And he answered no. And then he was asked almost the same question shortly after that. And he said, I'd have to say yeah. So it sounds like he's taken money. We're not even sure whether it was from Coach Freeze or from Jim Miller, the athletic director. And then as Bob Quinn, the general manager of the Lions, smartly pointed out, if pot was such a big issue and if we had to basically stop looking at kids who smoked a pot, he goes, half the board would be gone. So, you know, it's much ado about something, but I'm not sure that it rises to the level, you know, that it's already gone to. It blew up Twitter for a while, and I think there's still a lot of people walking around who are trying to figure out exactly what happened.
It just points to how crazy everything unfolded for a kid who thought, okay, if I'm not going to go 1-2 because of the quarterbacks, could be going to San Diego. And then he didn't even know about the Instagram posts until he was on ESPN radio right after the draft.
It was informed of it. And clearly his place dropped in the draft. I mean, we've heard the Baltimore Ravens may have taken him off the board as a result of that. A couple of other teams may not have looked at him. And yet, you know, the left tackle behind the quarterback is probably the most desirable position in the draft, because if you get a good, you not only get an anchor for your line, but you're protecting your quarterback now, your biggest investment for years to come. So, you know, teams are crazy about getting good left tackles, and this kid was presumed to be the best of them. Ronnie Stanley, who did go ahead of him, you might have argued were 1-2, and yet his drop is also, you know, in a way, Miles Jack dropped significantly as well, but because of a knee injury. So this is, you know, this is such a small issue, I think, in a larger societal picture, and yet in the NFL, this is still very, very important news, and it's clear that a lot of franchises weren't going to touch him as a result of that.
All right, and finally, Jimmy Sexton's his agent, and then the reports came out of Miami, well, Jimmy Sexton's also the agent for Adam Gase, the head coach of the Dolphins, and other prominent members of the Dolphins organization. Conflict of interest there?
I don't think so. In fact, I think it's really a smart business move is what I think it is. Because I think, again, if you look at what he's accused of doing, he was basically smoking a bong. I mean, if you went back and you went to probably, who knows how many guys in this draft were involved in probably the same activity in part of college, and probably almost everybody else in the country, by the way, who's going to college at one point probably smoked weed. So getting a quality guy like this, if he turns out to be as good as advertised, I think they stole him. I mean, look, Miami was drafting in the 13th slot and came away with perhaps a starter for their, you know, offensive line for years to come. So conflict of interest, maybe it's just a smart business move.
A crazy night here at the NFL Draft. Good to spend it with Jim Lickey of the Associated Press.